So we go from one super important game in the Panthers last night, getting that win on the road. And like I said, tonight, second night of a back-to-back. Alex Lyon's going to be in net. It'll be weird having someone not Bobrovsky in between the pipes tonight. Do your job. Do your job. And let's get him some goal support as well. Second night of a back-to-back. Not easy, but these are the games that matter. All right, and the Panthers are cooking right now. They've won, I think it's 6 out of 7. And that one game, the seventh one, that was the overtime loss, I believe, to Winnipeg. So points in 7 straight, winners of 6 out of 7. They won 3 in a row, overtime loss, now 3 in a row again. I think tonight, 4 in a row. I don't think they've won 4 in a row yet this year. Anyway, so we go from a really important win last night to another really important win, a place where you may be surprised that ZASLOW Show 2.0 is talking about this. Now, you know, I'm not a huge college basketball fan, but I always watch the tournament, love the tournament, and I love what's going on with the Canes right now. And I really dig what's going on with FAU right now. FAU Thursday night, Canes on Friday nights. Very exciting times, all right? FAU, Tennessee, Miami, and Houston. For some reason, I think I said Utah yesterday. I don't know why Utah was on the mind. Maybe I was about to talk about the Jazz. Anyway, you'll have to excuse me there yesterday. I know the Canes are playing Houston. I know Utah is not in the tournament. Anyway, excuse me. So, I don't sit here and pretend like I'm some college basketball expert. But you know I love the Canes. I'm a great Canes fan. Went to UF and still love the Canes. I'm a great Canes fan. But last night, you had the Lady Canes. The Lady Canes, Katie Meyer, and her Lady Canes last night with a chance to go to the Sweet 16 for the first time ever. Did I see that? So, this game, I think it was ESPN2. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've been following the Lady Canes. I know they're really good, but I'm not a huge men's college basketball fan. And I've told you guys before, I don't care for women's college basketball. I don't care for women's basketball, period. Now, that's not a sexist thing. I love women's tennis. I love women's soccer. It's not about male or female for me. I've been over this a million times. It's about the game. It's about the sport. And I feel almost the same way about men's college basketball, where I don't watch men's college basketball the way I used to love it, because you used to have, you got kids who were there for at least 2 years, 3 years, sometimes 4 years. And so now that it's so different that all the good players leave after a year, maybe 2, the quality of play is not what it used to be. That's what it's about for me when it comes to men's college basketball. I don't think the quality of play is very good, so I don't love it. But when we get to the tournament's always awesome. Everyone tries so hard. Not that they don't try so hard in the regular season, because it's kids, they do try hard. But it's so important to these kids, the schools, the crowd, the alumni, the student body. The atmosphere is phenomenal. Love the tournament. The tournament's so good. But in general, I don't think men's college basketball, I don't think it's a well-played game anymore. I don't think it's good basketball for the most part. So then you go over to the women's side. I also don't think it's good basketball. I think it's really slow. I think it's obviously really low to the ground. I don't care for women's basketball. It doesn't have to do with men and women, because I just told you, I don't think the men's game's been very good in a long time. I just don't think it's good basketball. And I want to watch good basketball. That's why I love the NBA. So anyway, I've told you that before. It has nothing to do with male versus female. It has to do with the actual game. And I don't think it's a great game. But with that said, I clearly need to be paying attention to what's going on with the Lady Canes right now. Because holy shit, what a finish that was. And knocking off number 1 seed Indiana. Everyone was talking about it on social media last night. And here's the best part. This is a little known fact. If the men's basketball team beats a school and the women's basketball team beats the same school, you now own that state. So the University of Miami now owns the state of Indiana. That's right. Not just the school, the entire state of Indiana. The University of Miami owns the state of Indiana. That's what happens when you beat both men and women's teams at Indiana to advance to the Sweet 16. That's what happens. Everybody knows that you now own that state. So that's excellent news in regards to what's going on with the men's and women's basketball team. We now, University of Miami, I say we now own the state of Indiana. What a finish, though, last night. And I know, look, I've had people telling me, yeah, you got to pay attention to Lady Canes. Clearly, you're right. Clearly, you're right. Destiny Harden, Katie Meyer, who's a legend down here. Everybody knows that. The Cavender girls. This team last night was the talk of sports. What a finish last night. So the Lady Canes are leading the entire game, apparently. It gets down late, a 3-point basket with like 8 seconds left, tied at 68. By the way, right before that, you had Haley Cavender, who hits a pair of... And they're in Indiana. You know, the way the tournament works there, or at least the first few rounds, the games are at the higher seed. So they're in Indiana's home gym. Hostile crowd, you know that. And she hits both free throws. She shushes the crowd. Oh my God, she shushes the crowd. They tie the game with a 3. And then Canes are inbounding the ball, side out. Lady Canes are inbounding. Tremendous inbounds pass. Down low to their best player, right? Destiny Harden. And she takes care of that business.
Over a number 1 seed with this possession. Harden, step through. Rolls in, she gets it. No timeouts left for Indiana. 3.3 remaining. Maura McNeil with the ball. Takes it, has it stolen away. Another number 1.
She's very excited. She's flexing. The crowd's stunned, but there's still a few seconds left. You got to get back on defense. You got to finish out the possession here. They don't even get the shot off. Ball gets knocked away. I don't think she was going to get the shot off anyway. They don't get the shot. Crowd is shook. The Lady Canes are running around. They're going crazy. They just knocked off number 1 seed Indiana. Big ups to those girls. So cool. I got to pay attention next game. They're now in the Sweet 16, just like the men's basketball was in the Sweet 16. The University of Miami now owns the entire state of Indiana. Look, let's just say what it is. South Florida, center of the basketball universe. That's right. That's what it is. Center of the basketball universe. So, big time shout out to the Lady Canes, who I clearly need to be paying more attention to now that they're in the Sweet 16 also. And great job by Katie Meyer, who's a legend down here, who's been there forever and is one of the all-time great coaches. So cool. Here's Destiny Harden. She's with the 2 commentators for ESPN2. Here was Destiny Harden after the game.
To the whole game in just a moment, but take us through that game-winning shot.
I mean, oh man, I can't. Man, I'm sorry, but coming into the huddle and timeout, Fitzroy, man, he did it again. He told me face up and win the fucking game. Excuse my language, but man, we're going to sit to the Sweet 16 because of him.
We're gonna bring Jamie Erdahl on board. See if Jamie Erdahl, is it okay? You know, she was on True TV. It was ESPN2. On True TV, I was Jamie Erdahl excuse that type of language. ESPN2, I don't know. They may frown on it, but great job out of her. Great job, Katie Meyer. University of Miami Lady Canes. So fun. Really great job. Really happy for all those girls, for the school, and for that program. Really great job. Sweet 16, both the men and the women. So cool. Now, I didn't watch the game, but a common complaint I was seeing was the color analyst rooting for Indiana? Like, people were saying that she sounded like she was crying, like she was tearing up after the Canes won, that she was upset. You can hear, if you were listening close enough in the final call there, you could hear the color analyst when Indiana doesn't get the shot off. She goes, oh, no. Like, I don't know, why are you cheering? You know, well, you're not really supposed to play it like that. But apparently throughout the game, and I can't comment, I didn't hear it, except for what I just told you. Apparently, it sounded like a very biased broadcast. Whatever. University of Miami own the entire state of Indiana. I wonder what they're going to do with the state. Are they just going to keep it, or are they going to sell it? Are they going to live there a little bit? I wonder what they're going to do with the state of Indiana now that the University of Miami owns the entire state. I wonder what they're going to do with it. That's a nice little piece of property to pick up. I wonder what they're going to do. All right, we'll see. I can't predict the future. Can't do it. All right. Anyway, so really fun night last night. South Florida, center of the sports universe. Panthers, Lady Canes. That's what I'm talking about. All right. We get some Heat basketball here. Heat are not back in action until tomorrow. Look, if you need to sit back and relax, you know what I'm going to tell you. All right, you want to sit on the couch? I'll sit here on the couch, ZASLOW Mansion, family room. Not tonight because I'm going to the Magic. I'm going to the Magic game. How stupid is that? Not tonight for me because I'm going to the Magic game. But otherwise, if you're sitting on the couch, you're going to watch the Panthers tonight, Panthers and Flyers, when you crack open a six-pack of Johnny Cuba. You know what I'm talking about. European roots and a Caribbean soul. It's a refreshing German lager in a can. Pick up a six-pack of Johnny Cuba. That is the beer of choice in the ZASLOW Mansion, official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. Pick up a six-pack at Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. You want to pick up that Johnny Cuba hot sauce? That's right. That hot sauce made with the finest Jamaican peppers, that picante hot sauce. You know what I'm talking about? Broward Meat and Fish. They got you covered. Go pick it up at Broward Meat and Fish. Look, always drink responsibly. I love when I get the messages from you guys. You're trying Johnny Cuba for the first time. You're like, it's so delicious. Of course it's delicious. Why do you think it's the official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0? Don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. That's what I'm talking about. So, the Heat are back in action tomorrow night. And let's do a little bit of update as far as what's going on with the NBA, because while the Heat didn't play last night, there were things that took place in the association last night that did go the Heat's way. So, last night in the association, and we'll get to the standings in a second. Last night, the games of note. You had New York last night lose to Minnesota. Bad loss. It was in New York, in the Garden. The Knicks have not been a good home team this year. So, New York loses a little bit of ground there. I don't think the Heat are going to catch them. New York's 5th right now. Heat are 7th. But New York loses a game there. All right. Julius Randle, the story. 57 points for Julius Randle. I think it's the 3rd highest scoring output in Knicks history. The only other 2 Knicks players who have scored more, Bernard King, Carmelo Anthony. So Julius Randle, 57 points last night. Knicks are good. I mean, if you're a Heat fan, you sit here, Knicks suck. You just sound stupid. Knicks are good. And I like it when the Knicks are good, because I want to play them in the playoffs all the time, and I want to end their season, and I hate them, and it's what winds up making tomorrow more exciting. Like, tomorrow's going to be fun. Heat Knicks. The Knicks are trying to jump up to 4, at the very least hold on to 5th. The Heat, they're trying to get out of the play-in, which I don't think is a bad thing to be in that 7th spot. I think it's going to all work out just fine. The Knicks are 2-0 against the Heat this year. Both are 2-point Heat losses. Yeah, the one game you remember in the Garden where the Knicks almost blew it. It was a 5-point game late. Remember, you had the breakaway dunk by, maybe it was Randall. Mike Breen had a great call. Put him up by 5 late, like 10 seconds left. Then Max Strus hit a real quick 3, and then there was an inbound. No, it wasn't an inbounds violation. Julius Randle lost the ball on the inbounds. The Heat got the steal. There was a review as well to see who was out on. The Heat won it, and then they had one final chance. Tyler Hero missed a 3 at the buzzer. They lost. You remember that. Everybody remembers that. And then you had the game more recently here, which was a phenomenal game that the Heat lose at the buzzer on a crazy step-back 3. Julius Randle, who I think finished that night with 38, he couldn't miss. Julius Randle's really good. So the Heat are 0-2 against the Knicks this year. 2 more games to play. You got this week, and then I think coming up again you got tomorrow, and then I think coming up again next week. I'm tired of 2-point losses to the Knicks. Tired of it. But last night, the Knicks lose. Golden State won the rare road game. Give it up for Golden State. How about the defending champs winning their 8th road game of the season? Wow. They won at Houston last night. That team sucks. And Dallas. The Mavericks lost last night at Memphis. Hey, give Kyrie credit. He played 2 games in a row. You got to give it up for Kyrie Irving. I mean, it's in. Now, they weren't back-to-back. Because if the games were back-to-back days, that would be inhumane for Kyrie Irving to do that. But 2 games in a row he played, that you got to give it up. Well, the Mavericks lost because that's what they do now since they got Kyrie Irving. The team's terrible. They're a disaster. So they lose scoring 12 points in the fourth quarter. Hey, Kyrie Irving's he's a cancerous part of your team. The Mavericks saw what happens with Kyrie on every other team, like, nah, it's going to be good for us. Okay. And he's not going to stay there either. Terrible trade for the Mavericks. Terrible trade. They have to be kicking themselves they didn't keep Jalen Brunson. They let him walk. They traded all kinds of guys to get Kyrie. Kyrie's been a disaster, and he's going to leave. That's a well-run team, the Mavericks. So those are some of the big games from the NBA last night. Because the Knicks lost, the Knicks have 31 losses, 42-31, they're fifth. The Heat, 34 losses, 39-34, they're seventh. So still 3 back. You can obviously cut it to 2, and then 1 if you get that game next week against the Knicks. So you're still alive. I don't see it happening. As far as the Nets go, you want to keep an eye on this because the Nets have Cleveland tonight. If the Nets lose tonight, now all of a sudden you're 1 back. 1 loss back of the Nets. You play the Nets this weekend. So if Brooklyn loses tonight to Cleveland, it's in Brooklyn, then that 6th seed is in play. And right now, the 6th seed is matched up since Philly, bad loss for Philly last night to Chicago. You know, Boston and Philly, they're flip-flopping 2 and 3. We're probably not going to know until the final day of the season. Boston 49-23, Philadelphia 48-23. But what we're keeping an eye on tonight, since the Heat are not playing, we're keeping an eye on the Nets and the Cavaliers. If the Cavs do the Heat a solid, if the Nets lose tonight, all of a sudden that number 6 seed is back in play. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Otherwise, as far as the Heat go tomorrow night, everyone seems good to go. It seems like everyone's healthy, ready to go. So, I mean, is it a big game for the Heat? I think it's bigger for the Knicks because the Knicks are trying to hold on to 5 and probably an outside shot of getting to 4. And the difference between 5 and 6 really is a huge difference. You're playing Cleveland as opposed to playing Philadelphia or Boston in the first round. So I think it's a huge game for New York tomorrow night against the Heat. I don't necessarily feel that way for the Heat because I don't think finishing 7, like at best the Heat will finish 6. And the difference between 6 and 7, yes, there's the play-in, which I think if you're number 7, I think the Heat are fine at number 7. You got 2 chances and 2 chances at home to win 1 game to clinch the playoff spot. But as far as your first round opponent, it's Boston or Philadelphia, whether you're 6 or 7. So I think tomorrow's a much more important game for the Knicks. And the Heat are 2 games in the loss column ahead of Atlanta. That's important to point out as well. Let's see if the Hawks are playing tonight. The Hawks are playing tonight. They're hosting Detroit. We know Detroit is terrible. Atlanta is a 14-point favorite against the Pistons. So you do want to stay ahead of number 8. You don't want to play that first game on the road. So there you have it. All right. So I want to add something here before we get to big deal, not a big deal. And make sure, hey, however you guys listen to the show, make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff. I love you a long time. So if you're into pro wrestling, last night, watching my stories, Monday Night Raw, didn't finish the show. Great show as always, though. Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, he was on the show. He made an appearance last night. I can't wait to watch the end of the show. I'm sure he got involved. He was supposed to address the crowd. Hey, you guys know that's a big deal. You want to talk big deal, not a big deal? That's a big deal. But speaking of pro wrestling, if you're into pro wrestling, I know that you guys listen to my pro wrestling show, which is on the weekends under the ZASLOW Show 2.0 banner. It's still real to me. That's right. It's still real to me. Every weekend, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It's March Madness. It's WrestleMania season. So, we have the ultimate WrestleMania moment bracket for It's Still Real to Me. And last night, we did it. We started last week. We let you guys vote on my Twitter, at ZASLOW Show. The polls were up for a few days. And now we debuted the second round match. Now, we didn't do 64 moments. We did 32 moments. Well, the second round, which is the Sweet 16, debuted last night. Let me go over some of the matchups here real quick for you. You have a 1 versus, and some of them are active right now for you to vote on at ZASLOW Show. Go vote. The first few matchups of the Sweet 16 are up there. 1 versus 8 in the Sweet 16. 1 seed, Hogan slams Andre at WrestleMania 3 versus the 8th seed, Kofi Mania. You have a 4 seed versus a 12 seed. 4 seed is Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania 18. 12 seed, Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon. Ladder match, WrestleMania 10. Tough matchup. You have a 3 versus 6. Shawn Michaels retires Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24 as a 3 seed. Against a 6 seed, Daniel Bryan wins the undisputed title at WrestleMania 30. Another very tough matchup. How about a 10 versus a 15 in the Sweet 16? 10 seed, my all-time favorite match. Macho Man Randy Savage against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 3 versus a 15 seed where Vince McMahon screws The Rock at WrestleMania 2000. On the other side of the bracket, we have a 1 seed versus a 9 seed in the Sweet 16. So both 1 seeds are still alive. 1 seed, Brock Lesnar ends the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania 30 against the 9 seed, John Cena versus The Rock once in a lifetime at WrestleMania 28. We have a 4 versus a 5. 4 seed Mike Tyson turns on DX, helps Stone Cold at WrestleMania 14 versus a 5 seed. Shawn Michaels' boyhood dream comes true at WrestleMania 12. How about a 6 seed versus a 14 seed? 6 seed, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold submission match, double turn, WrestleMania 13. Versus the 14 seed, Macho Man wins the tournament and the championship at WrestleMania 4. And finally, a 2 versus a 10 seed in the Sweet 16. 2 seed, Rock versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 17, one of the all-time great WrestleManias, versus a 10 seed, Edge spears Jeff Hardy off the ladder at WrestleMania 17. So, there you have it. That's our Sweet 16. Half of those are available to vote right now. The other half will probably be posted tonight, maybe tomorrow. So go to @ZASLOW SHOW. You can vote on all that. Leave your comments. You're upset about the seating. Hey, that's what the bracket's for, all right? Let's get the conversation. Let's continue the conversation. So go to @ZASLOW SHOW. You can vote on all that good stuff. Before we get to big deal or not a big deal, you guys want to pick up that Johnny Cuba Picante hot sauce made with the finest Jamaican peppers? You get it at Broward Meat and Fish. Broward Meat and Fish, one of our newest sponsors. If you love good food, you're in for a treat. We all want that best quality when we're prepping for our next meal. Well, I've never seen a selection of meat and fish like I saw when I walked into Broward Meat and Fish for the very first time. And you're going to do a full shop there. Complete selection of groceries on top of the best selection of meat and seafood. Brand new location. Grand opening was a couple weeks ago. I was there with my man Juan and Johnny Cuba. We were getting it done over there, giving away some picante hot sauce, giving away some samples of the beer. You know what I'm talking about. You go to Broward Meat and Fish, find the location nearest you. BrowardMeatandFish.com. Got one right here in Pembroke Pines by me. And you got the brand new one, grand opening, at the new location in Margate. But hey, you're there, you want your meat cut a certain way, you want the fish, hey, maybe you want them to take the little bones out of your fish. Well, the butchers and fishmongers at their full-service meat and seafood counter, they're going to prepare the selection exactly the way you want it. Get that perfect cut, freshest flavor and quality. Broward Meat and Fish, newest location, Margate. Find the location nearest to you. It's my new stop for all my grocery shopping. BrowardMeatandFish.com. All right. So tonight, what do we got tonight? We got the Panthers. That's huge. Got to win in Philadelphia and then get ready for 2 huge home games, Thursday and Saturday, Maple Leafs and Rangers. We're still a couple days from the tournament getting going again. I missed that tournament. We also have tonight, I'll get to in a second here with big deal, not a big deal, Lone Depot Park. Things are happening down there tonight. But you know what time it is. Let's do big deal or not a big deal. Yes, big deal or not a big deal. Hey, are you dealing with water, mold, or fire damage to your home or business? That might be a big deal. Might not be a big deal. But I know that if you call Water Cleanup of Florida, they're going to let you know if it's a big deal or if it's not a big deal. Water Cleanup of Florida, 24 hours a day, ready for your call with over 60 years of combined experience. Their team is prepared to handle any size property damage disaster. Call or text Water Cleanup of Florida anytime, 954-900-8635. You can also go to WCUFL.com. Again, you find a leak, it could be a big deal. Find out. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida. We clean up your schmutz. Big deal or not a big deal? So last night, you had the Memphis Grizzlies. They beat the Dallas Mavericks. Everybody beats the Mavericks now with Kyrie Irving because he's the worst. So the Grizzlies get a win last night. John Morant was in the building. He was there. Now, he didn't play last night. He's eligible to return. They expect he's going to be back on Wednesday night. Got to ramp up a little bit. You know the way it goes. Got to ramp up. Big deal or not a big deal? Yeah, it's a big deal. Everybody wants to see Ja back in action. He's one of the most exciting players. And we'll see, is it going to be in his head? Is everything going on off the court going to affect his play? The team needs him if they're going to win the Western Conference. I mean, they're in play. So I'm going a potential Ja Morant return to the Grizzlies tomorrow night. I'm going big deal. Big deal or not a big deal? Cam Newton. He has announced he is attempting a comeback. He was not in the NFL last year. He is going to participate. He's going to throw in Auburn's Pro Day. He wants back in the league. Again, he's telling you there are not 32 quarterbacks in the NFL better than him. I think the real question is, are there 64 quarterbacks in the NFL better than him? This is not a big deal. Cam Newton is not an NFL quarterback anymore. He was not awful. He was horrible his final 2 years. Just not an NFL quarterback. I'm going not a big deal. Big deal or not a big deal? So things are happening down at Lone Depot Park, right? Last night, semifinal, World Baseball Classic. Nobody cares. Nah, that's not true. That's ugly American. World Baseball Classic, Japan. Bottom of the ninth, down 5-4, walked it off against Mexico.
There he goes, looks back at Ohtani. The pitch is hit to left center field. Hit very well, and it is off the wall. Ohtani flying around third, right behind him, scoring the winning run. It's a walk-off. Japan will play for the championship.
There it is. I'm sure what was a very, very pro-Mexico crowd. Japan stuns Mexico in the bottom of the ninth. They win 6-5. They advance now to tonight, the World Baseball Classic final. That's a big. I'll go big deal. That's a big deal. Japan, USA, Lone Depot Park. That's also a big game. That's right. Big deal and big game. Who saw that coming? Finally, big deal or not a big deal? I missed this a couple days ago. Jalen Ramsey, when he was introduced to the South Florida media, gave his thoughts on his new head coach, Mike McDaniel.
He a little weird. You know what I mean? He a little weird. We all weird in our own way, but, he a little weird. But that's cool, though. And he does things his way, right? And he's himself all the time. It's not fake or nothing like that. So I know that's one thing all the players have said about, have talked about with me, and they like that about him. And I'm sure I will too. But like I said, I can't really even speak. I can only speak from our,
I'm
recent
going not a
interactions.
big deal.
We've been
Everybody knows Mike McDaniel is
he
super
seems
quirky.
cool.
He's a little bit strange. He's definitely different.
once
Love
I'm actually
Jalen
here a
Ramsey
little
on
bit
this
longer, actually
team.
around
I
him a
called it
little
a
bit.
couple days before it happened. I think the Dolphins are going to go after Jalen Ramsey. Boom. Chris Greer, he listens to ZASLOW Show 2.0. It's like, you know what, ZASLOW? That's a good idea. And the next thing you know, you got Jalen Ramsey. He's calling the head coach weird. But still, not a big deal. And that right there is another edition of Big Deal or Not a Big Deal, brought to us as always by one of our newest sponsors, Water Cleanup of Florida. Let the Greensteins take care of you. Great guys. 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida. They're going to tell you if the leak that you currently have, if that's a big deal or not a big deal. All right, there you go. What a show today. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. If you see tonight on my social media, ZASLOW, what the hell are you doing at an Orlando Magic game? That's a great question. Going to the Magic and Wizards tonight. Looking forward to that. I'll be keeping an eye on the Panthers on my phone. That's obviously what's most important. Spending the day tomorrow at Universal Studios, waiting on those lines. Hey, thanks again to everybody for listening. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff. Tell all your friends and family about the show. Tell your mother I say hello. Thanks to everybody who helped put together a great show today. Just a tremendous job by everybody involved. We'll talk to you on ZASLOW Show 2.0 on Thursday. Know what that means.